Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne, yikes, 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs, where here's the thing, you can check the score, hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs, down to Biscayne. Kept the floor playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's about have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome into the 5 on the Floor post-game show as the Miami Heat will almost certainly be the 10 seed in the play-in after losing to the Chicago Bulls 119-111. Swept by the Bulls in 3 games this year. Now they may see the Bulls again in this exact same scenario a week from now in Chicago. I don't see any reason why it would go any differently than this did. The Heat again lose 119-111. They're now 36-44 on the season. That means this will be their worst season since 2014-15, the year after LeBron left. We'll get into the player of the game, the play of the game, and defending the house as we go forward. But honestly, guys, I want to just talk in big picture terms here before we get into the specifics of this game. This is just symbolic of this season. They had moments, the 6-game winning streak, but ultimately just not good enough. Just not good enough. And their 2 best players today, or their 2 leading players, didn't do enough for different reasons. And we'll touch on that as we go forward. One of them scored a lot, but made one of the silliest plays I've ever seen in a game like this at the end. And the other one was pretty much invisible for a good portion of the night. Just not impactful enough. And the best player on the floor tonight was Josh Giddey, who's now averaging like 28 points this season against the Heat. Brady, I'll go to you first on this, and we'll get into player of the game and all that stuff. Was there anything, because they had a lead in this game and then gave it up, as they tended to do, although they gave it up earlier in the night. Was there anything tonight that Erik Spoelstra could have done differently to to get a different outcome?
I do. I actually think there was a worse decision than that Tyler pull-up 3 that we're going to talk about later. And honestly, it was the fact that they didn't get to Tyler and Bam to come in until like 4 or 5 minutes into the 4th. When you talk about the stakes of this game, what it matters in terms of the play-in, getting to a home playing game, just the whole stakes around it. They have like that decent push early in the 4th quarter. I was kind of talking at the end of the 3rd when they cut it down. It was like the only way that they could get back into this game is if they slow the game down, muck it up, and get to the free throw line. The first 3 minutes of the 4th quarter, they did that. Davion did it. Wiggins did it. I mean, they didn't make them. That's a whole other conversation we could probably have here. If they made some free throws tonight, they probably could be in this game even more so. But they got to the line. They slowed it down. They forced the Bulls to call timeout. They come out of the timeout, no Bam or Tyler still. And then that's the quick stretch that always seems to happen this season. Like they wait one stretch too long, and it's a 5 or 6 point swing. And now that 5-point deficit that you just cut up to is now an 11-point game. So I just wasn't a fan of that specifically. I just think with the stakes of the game, I just don't understand the reasoning behind, number one, not having Tyler and Bam, those non-Tyler Bam minutes in general in the 4th quarter, but even more so when Wiggins is coming off an injury and was just not an aggressive factor offensively in this game. I mean, he had some moments at the early of the game. He had a 3, he had decent moment, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't what you'd want to put as a first option on the floor in that portion of the game. So yeah, it was just some ugly lineups there in the 4th quarter when they were trying to make their swing runs. This team is going to run you up and down the floor. You have to be able to score against them, because we could talk about the defense tonight, but they just are too fast. They play at a different speed than Miami, and Miami they could not control pace whatsoever.
You know, it's crazy that the Bulls made these major changes during the season, traded Levine, traded DeRozan, or moved DeRozan after last season, and yet they found a style, and I still don't know what the Heat's identity is. I still can't figure it out and we're at this stage of the season. Before, and Alex, I'll bring you in a second. We got Brady Hawk 305. Alex Toledo can follow Tropical Blanket. Greg's going to be back next week. This comes in from Big Rat 310. Thank you for your hard work. If they don't make any changes in the offseason, please promise me the 5 on the floor crew during next preseason won't hype up the team avoiding the play-in this time. Even Greg's hope meter has limits. Yeah, I don't think he'll be doing that either. Just your general thoughts tonight, Alex, before we get to the specifics of the game.
Sloppy, right? Like if I had to put it into one word, that's what I would say. Like they had plenty of opportunities, like you guys have talked about, to, take control. And I just feel like, of course, like it started going downhill, in the third quarter there, and they just kept getting out in transition over and over and over again. And the Heat's offense, like it's just like there was no course correction, right? And it reminded me of some of the losses in the losing streak, where it was like there wasn't, they got punched but there wasn't a punch back. They didn't come back and try to, like be better next time. I feel like after that run, you have to be on point, right? And I just feel like that sequence, you mentioned the Herro shot, which was of course crazy in itself because there wasn't anybody there like in position to get a rebound if he missed it. We know that he likes taking transition threes. That was crazy in itself. And then you've got the turnover that ends up going out of bounds, not long after. Like these are things that, like could have been avoided, right? If you just make the smart decision, right? And of course, like I understand these things are happening. These are split-second decisions that players are making. You're not getting time to sit down and think about things, but like honestly, if they just played a little bit smarter tonight, I think they win. And obviously, there's a lot more to this game than just that. But I'm just trying to kind of summarize it. I feel like this was not their best effort. This was not that there wasn't any effort, but it's like for a game like this, right? For a team that supposedly is all about winning and is trying to get out there and give it their best in the play-in and all of that, and cares about the standings and whatever. They haven't given up on this season. That's not what happened tonight on the floor. Like they had so many players where I'm like, okay, that wasn't it, right? Like it's one thing to miss shots, it's one thing to lose, but the way that they lost was just like you mentioned, Ethan, very symbolic of the season. Where it's like they just like some of the losses in the losing streak, and tonight it's like you just wish they didn't lose that way.
Yeah, but they did, and we can go back through all the losses this year. All the blown leads. Brady doesn't want to do this again. We did a whole podcast on this. The timeout call in Detroit. So many of these games, losing by 40 to Utah at home, blowing the leads against Chicago, against New York, against Orlando. I'm not going to keep doing this. The point is they're where they belong. That's really it. I mean, you look at their net rating this year. They came into this game at 0.0, which they should have a better record than 36-43, which means it's not Spo's best season. But I actually think they're closer to the 8 games under 500 team than the net rating shows. They're a team that, with the exception of that 6-game winning streak, and a couple of those were against really bad teams, they just have not been able to get any consistency this year. Some of it was the Jimmy thing, but some of it is themselves. Let's get to the player of the game, and we'll play off of that.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
Well, let's not get to a Heat player right now, because we have to acknowledge what Josh Giddey did tonight. These are cartoon numbers. These are like Jokic numbers, Brady. I mean, he was good against the Heat the first 2 games, but how does this happen? 11 of 19 from the floor. He had 28, 16, and 11. 28, 16, and 11. Who is he, LeBron? Like, why could they not guard this guy the entire year?
I mean, why couldn't they guard him? I have no clue, but they couldn't. And it wasn't just one guy. I mean, they were getting torched. Like good defenders on this team were getting torched by him. Number one, this team moves the ball. Like I was saying before, they play in the open court. They move the ball in the half court. So he's like playing off the motion of the defense, and he's kind of going against it into these drives. The physicality, it starts like he just looks like a much more confident player against Miami. Like, I know he's been playing extremely well. Like, he's been having a really good season in general, but just watching the way he was playing tonight was just like, he was not worried about any defender that was switching on to him. The rebounding, like, it just felt like he was out rebounding everybody on Miami. It just felt like the activity levels were there. He has 2 steals and 3 blocks as well. Like, just he was everywhere. He was just absolutely dominating them, and they just couldn't stop him. And that kind of keys into the fact, like, yeah, like there was moments there when Miami's worst defenders were just getting cooked. But like even guys like Haywood, I thought Haywood actually did not have a good defensive game. Like he's been so strong against players like Giddy, where he just kind of stays down, is physical, does the type of stuff.
Should have took him out.
They were giving him trouble. Like everybody was giving him trouble. Duncan, another role player that I think just should not have been on the floor for that extra stretch. He did not have it offensively. He was getting torched defensively. It just felt this was a game to me where they've had a lot of these games over the winning streak where their role players have kind of pushed them over the edge to get a win. Their role players were not good in this game, except for one, and it was Davion Mitchell. It felt like every time Miami needed something, they got it from Davion Mitchell. The energy defensively, the shooting offensively, which is crazy to say. Yet ended up with 17 points of 6 of 10 shooting. Other than that, I didn't think their role players were good enough in this game, just as a whole. So, and I'll say this as well. I just don't love the zone against this type of team. I don't like Miami's defensive. I just don't trust Miami defensively against a team like this in general. Just the way the speed, the way they can kind of hurt you from so many different areas. But the zone doesn't help, because if you have one mishap defensively, when they double over, they kind of get stuck in a zone where they have to kind of go to the middle of the floor to kind of get to that side. They can swing that past the weak side so quickly, and Miami doesn't have the speed to combat that. So I just thought the zone they should have gotten away from. But then again, as I say that, I mean, then you're running these lineups that I'm mentioning with some of your weaker defenders, and they're going to start getting picked on. So it just felt like they didn't have an answer defensively in this game.
Davion Mitchell was the Heat's best player tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the energy level as well, I think, is probably the most important thing. He was everywhere.
36 minutes tonight. Led the team in minutes. It's crazy how much Spo is relying on. Not crazy, because, I mean, he should be. But 17 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. That guy showed up. That guy showed up in a big game. Where was Bam? Where was Bam? Is this enough? 6 of 15, 18. We'll get to Tyler in a second. 6 of 15, 18, 6 and 3. He's a max guy.
I think it's more than the stat line. And you know what it is?
I mean, did you think he was good tonight? I thought he was okay.
No, I wasn't saying Bam was great. I wasn't trying to defend him. No, he definitely was not enough. I think when you looking here, he went 4 of 12 from 2. And I think so much of his game comes down to, specifically offensively, I should say, but he wasn't at his best, with the stuff that we kind of take for granted with him as a defensive guy, and specifically as a rebounder. I don't think he was as good in the other things that we expect for him to kind of be great at every night. But in the scoring aspect of it, 4 of 12, for as good as he is with the midi, for as good as he is in that area, I wish he was a little bit more consistent at it, right? Where it was one of those things where most of the guys who are taking those shots at high volume is because they're elite at it. And I think Bam is good, not elite at it. And I think this is what it looks like. Where he's not going to give it to you every night in that aspect. And when it shows out to 4 of 12 from 2, that's really hard to get past, because those are shots that, of course you can't hit them all, but they're closer. He takes short mid-range shots, which a lot of times are contested. So those are not easy shots. It's not like the old UD wide open catch and shoot, on the baseline. He's having to, hit tough shots there. So I get that part more, but the in-between shots, he can't miss closer to the basket. And just in general, I think this is, one of the worst games he's had in a while. And it's not all on him, but absolutely not all on him. I thought it was more of a collective thing. And there was just stretches where the game got out of hand for them, and they just never fought back. But Bam was absolutely not good enough.
I don't think we're saying it's all on him. I just think,
Of course.
I think we're heading to a certain place where it's like these are meaningful games. Like I mean, it's for a play-in seed, so I shouldn't overstate it. But it in the context of the last few weeks, this is the most meaningful game. Your highest paid player has to show up, right? I mean, Brady, what did you think of his performance tonight?
I as he said, I mean, the 4 of 12 shooting from 2, I thought he was kind of spamming that middle of the floor, pull-up jumper. I just felt like he could have kind of mismatched Hunt, put his head down, try to get to the basket, trying to control the pace of the game, get to the free throw line. But I wanted to ask you because I just saw this comment where they said, but why isn't Bam playing 40-plus minutes? Because you just mentioned the stakes of this game, how important it was. I'm looking at the other side where Josh Giddey is playing 40 minutes, and you just mentioned Davion Mitchell's leading the team in minutes, and he's at 35. Like, why are Tyler Herro and Bam are playing 35 minutes in a game that is supposed to be meaningful? Like, that's what I'm being told. So, I'm curious about that. Like I mentioned, the fourth quarter, that extra stretch, I just felt like they should have, one of them at least should have been put in the game at that point. But I'm just not sure about, like, Wiggins played 27, but he was on a minutes restriction. Like, they were going to be mindful of his minutes coming back. I understand that. Yeah, but the 35 minutes in a game that's supposed to matter, I'm just not sure about that.
But Spoelstra always does that with him, and I don't understand it because like now you don't even need to play in the next 2 games. Like we'll talk about this later, but to me, you shut everybody down for the next 2. We're going to have the Terry Rozier, Victor Oladipo game. Terry's going to score 40 in the next game. Like that's who's going to play. I mean, I hope that he plays Christopher and he plays Stevens and he plays, Keyshawn Johnson. But like, there's no reason to play anybody these last 2 because Chicago's not losing either of those last 2. So you're the 10. So I don't understand the minutes thing either. I don't get it. Like Bam is not 38 years old. Like he's still in his 20s. He's in his prime. He can handle the minutes. They didn't play last night. So like, I don't understand why you're not playing him more. I'm looking at the minute distribution and we'll get to the play of the night here because we got to address the Tyler thing. But Mitchell 36 off the bench, Herro 36, Bam 35. Wiggins 27, like you mentioned, he was on a minutes restriction. It's funny, his numbers look okay. I don't think he played well, but his numbers are good. They 14, 6, and 5, 27 minutes, and he was 5 of 10 from the floor. But I didn't think he was impactful. Burks played 16. Ware played 25. Didn't come back late. Highsmith played 25. I agree with you. I don't think he was great defensively tonight. And Kyle Anderson played 22, and Duncan, who was pretty awful tonight, played 18. It's funny, they got the Duncan good game in the game they didn't need it, and then tonight they didn't get the Duncan good game. All right, let's get to the play of the night. We got to address the Tyler play.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you if you work in a hospital or a medical office. Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
All right, let me set the scene here because there were other plays that mattered. And most of the plays that matter were like end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter. I thought was where this game went. The Heat could not get back in transition. It was just like a endless parade to the basket and to threes. They weren't getting out to the line. That's where the game was lost. But okay, Tyler Herro gets a steal under 40 seconds. They're down 5. He literally has a clear path to the basket. I rewatched it. There was nobody in front of him. It's a layup. Okay. You're down 5. You can get yourself down to 3 with roughly 35 seconds left. You don't even have to foul in that situation. You literally could just defend straight up, try to, to hope they don't use the whole 24, get the ball back with 13, 14 seconds and you're down 3. Alex, why did he shoot a 3 there in transition? Because he had 30 tonight. I know he had 30 tonight, and I want to give him some credit because I thought he showed up more than Bam did. But and he was 13 of 26 from the floor. Like he was efficient on the night overall. But that's a YMCA shot. That's a shot he would have taken at Miami Pro League. What the hell was that shot? I don't understand it.
The toughest of questions, because I agree with you 100%. That's a shot you take if there's, let's say, you know, you have another teammate down there and another defender, right? And you don't have that clear path that you're talking about. But that just wasn't the scenario. Like you mentioned, there was nobody there in front. Like everybody was behind him. You had, and when you, like you said it perfectly, they had enough time for him to score and them to be able to just get back on defense and play Heat basketball, lead into the defensive identity, and just have enough time, right, to get up a shot after if you get a stop. The problem is they weren't getting any stops this game, and we could talk about that for defending the house, but I just don't understand the logic in that. I guess, you know, like it's again, like I said earlier, it's a split-second decision. Maybe, you know, he probably regrets it, especially like you can tell just kind of looking at him afterwards. And you know, I know people had kind of certain like had issues with him laughing and stuff. I get it. I get why people would take issue with that. It is what it is at that point, man. Like, you know, what can you do after it's all said and done? What can you do? It was such a bad shot. I was absolutely perplexed. It's just not a shot you take in that situation.
Brady on the bench, he was caught saying "my bad" and laughing about it. Heat fans don't like that. I get it. He's being self-deprecating, and like you said, Alex, what can he really do at that stage? But it just seemed like such a loose shot in that
That's
situation.
not what you want to see. Yeah.
I don't feel like this team took this serious. You know what this game reminded me of? The Indiana game last year. With all that hype. Yeah, they put themselves in position, right? Like everything that went wrong last year, they just had to go up to Indiana and win a game. And in that one, like they played no defense in the first half, fell behind by 20. They just didn't show up. Today, they took a lead, but they just made low IQ decisions throughout. I mean, Brady, is there any defense for that shot?
No. I mean, it's something he's done a ton of like his entire life. It's not like that GIF where they say like, have you ever shot that shot? Like he has shot that shot. Like he's practiced that shot. But in that concept, in the context of the game, I mean, you said it. He got the steal with like 44 seconds left. He could lay that in with 40 seconds left, meaning you could probably, if you get a stop, you have about a 15, 16 second possession down 3 to put yourself in position to even get a quick 2 and then play the foul game. Like you have decisions you can make from there. But yeah, I don't really know what that extra point was going to really change, even if he made it. Like the only thing is, which doesn't matter in this case, but I think the only positive to that shot would be it's a momentum shifter in that building. I mean, if he hits that, then it shifts the momentum of the game and the energy, but not enough to not take the 2 and make it a game. Like you have to go take that over the floor. So he's going to probably say the same thing. I mean, I as much as he's probably laughing on the sideline because somebody probably said something to him and he laughed and said my bad, he's probably going to take ownership after the game. But yeah, it's a bad shot. You just don't take that shot at that point.
And I don't want to overdo this because of him, Bam, and Wiggins. He played the best tonight. Okay, so they're not in the game without his scoring, but there's just no defense for it. And again, I mean, people brought up the Jimmy shot against Boston, but I mean, he was going for a kill shot in that situation, like to win the game. Like I've never had an issue with Jimmy's decision there. Lots of decisions this year I had issues with, but that particular decision, I totally got it. Like he's in rhythm. He likes that shot. Okay. This one, I know Tyler's taken these shots before, but in the context of time and score, you have to be smarter than that. Like you just do. Like if you're going to be the leading scorer on the team, if you're going to be the 1A, which is what he became essentially by default this year, but it is what he is. I mean, he needs to make better decisions there. And again, people are commenting on Davion Mitchell. He was great tonight. Like I don't think you could have a single complaint about Davion Mitchell. I acquired him. He's been terrific pretty much every single night. This comes from Rob. Low IQ, no heart, no leadership on that court. Thanks for the great work, Alex, Brady, and Ethan. We appreciate you. We're still going, by the way. We're not stopping. We'll have podcasts the next couple of days. I don't know that we'll go live after New Orleans, but we'll see what happens here. All right, let's go. Oh, by the way, Alex can even throw it up there until I remember. Off the floor. That's our Discord server. Link is right here in the description. Bypass the Apple upcharge. $2.99 per month. The most heat anywhere, the most heat information, conversation, consternation, celebration. And if I don't say it enough times, Alex is going to give me repudiation. All right, so that's where we're at. Off the floor. Check it out. Link right here in the description. We'll do defending the house to close, but real quick here. Who do you sit the next 2 games? Everybody of significance? You let Wiggins get into shape, maybe?
Yeah, sounds about right.
I'd say definitely. I'd say Bam because he's been a little banged up already. I think he took a shot to the knee, so they'll probably definitely let him sit, let Ware get the reps. And I agree. I think they'll probably let Wiggins get light run just because he needs it. He needs to get back into the mix here. But then again, this team does not look. How do I say? They just don't look like a team that's together and ready for a play-in run if they're trying to still make one. That honestly, they probably need as much healthy reps together as possible right now because of the things that they were running. Tyler Herro had 1 3-point attempt at halftime. They need to get some kinks layered out here where Wiggins is aggressive on the ball. Tyler's flying off screens off the ball to get better looks from 3 because that's ultimately what they're going to need if they want to win a lot of these games. He has to be able to get 3s up. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they could do that without having to play games against garbage teams, but it just feels like there's certain things if they are still trying to compete here and try to make a run the play-in, those are things that have to be figured out.
Well, the reality is these 2 teams they're playing to end the season, they could beat these teams with their young guys playing. Potentially. They might win these games anyway. But it's not going to matter because they're going to end up 10. They're going to Chicago next week to lose. Giddy's probably going to put up 40, 20, and 20 against them. Speaking of which, defending the house.
And now it's time for our Defending the House segment, sponsored by our friends over at The Real Estate Shop. You can find them at realestateshopfl.com. That's with 2 P's and an E, realestateshopfl.com, or at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram. This is Javier Iglesias and Amanda Martin. They help buyers and sellers in real estate. They're nimble and protective of their clients. They service the entire Tri-County area. That's Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties with a proven on-market strategy. The Real Estate Shop sellers earn the most money in the shortest time frame because Amanda and Javier have a deep understanding of the local market. So check them out. Again, it's at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram, realestateshopfl.com, or give them a call at 954-268-9812. And now, who defended the house?
Well, the easy answer to this is no one. So give me the prescription here for a week from now, Alex. I don't really care about New Orleans and Washington. Like what is the prescription to shutting this team down? Because they've gone crazy scoring on you 3 times now.
I just think the dribble penetration, it's not up to par with where their defense needs to be at. I just think in general their point of attack defense, all of it, their help defense, everything is just inconsistent and off right now. It seems like they'll have stretches where it's nice and I see the vision. But it's felt like all season, other than during that 6-game win streak when things were really going well, that their defense is just not where you want it to be. And it's so weird because they've kind of been around the top 10 for most of the season in defensive rating. So it's not bad. It's just you'd want it to be better, right? And it absolutely was not good enough against the Bulls tonight and in their other matchups. I don't know. I just feel like some of it is it almost feels like they don't take them that seriously. Right. And I'm not saying that's all what it is, but it's man, I don't know, Giddy and Kobe White, those guys get to the paint. Buzelis, that guy, can do stuff. I understand they're not the most talented team and nobody really, they're not a contender. They're nowhere near being close to a contender. I get it. But they've got guys who can make things happen on the floor. And it's not fluky if, they've been doing it this whole time, after the trade deadline. And they've shown that they've got something there. They can really score. And they can really, like Brady was talking about, they play with pace. They're constantly putting pressure on you. I think they've got to respond better to that pressure. I know it's kind of it's easy analysis there. It's not the most technical thing, but they're just not executing properly. I don't know how much of it is scheme and how much of it is just, executing the game plans better and not letting guys get to their spots. You let Kevin Huerter finish with, what was it, 8 assists? What are we talking about here, man? These guys, Kevin Huerter went 9 of 16 from the floor. And that wasn't just he made 7 threes, He had 5 2s and 4 3s. You're letting Kevin Huerter kill you as a scorer and a playmaker, right? You guys already have mentioned Giddy, so that doesn't even, he's obviously was the best player on the floor. He was doing whatever he wanted as a playmaker out there. Vucevic, another guy who had like an amazing stat line. And all these guys had like very good assist to turnover ratios. Like the pressure wasn't there. The deterrence wasn't there. Like all of it was just kind of off. Like this team cannot afford for their defense to be streaky. You know what I mean? Like they need to be on point more often than not. And I understand like it's easier said than done, but they have no shot otherwise at making things interesting because they just don't have the offensive talent. And like when the offense goes bad, you see what happens. That third quarter, they had 12 fast break points, and it was just like over and over and over and over and over. They just need to get things together and play, you know, try to be the best version of themselves by playing simple basketball.
I don't think it's going to change by next Wednesday. I'll just put it out there. I thought they could win 2 play-in games, but I don't know. I don't think that they're going to connect in this way. And the fact, again, that their cornerstone players, and I mean more Bam specifically tonight. Again, Wiggins didn't contribute a whole lot. Their cornerstone players just don't step up. Like you can't let Josh Giddey be the best player on the floor. You just can't. I mean, there's just, you know, you got one guy here who's got a max, and you got another guy who wants a max. Like you can't let Josh Giddey be the best player on the floor. This number, speaking of which, on Josh Giddey, I just put this up in the comments here. Let me see if I can find it. This comes in from Pepe Silvia. Players in NBA history with 28 or more points, 16 or more rebounds, 11 or more assists, 2+ steals, and 3 blocks in the game. Josh Giddey, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Larry Bird. The Heat let Josh Giddey go Larry Bird on them tonight. Fire the season into the sun. We'll have a couple of podcasts coming up here over the next few days, and then we'll try to get you ready for the game in Chicago, which looks like the likely outcome on Wednesday. Guys, it's very possible we may not be at the arena again this year.
Man.
Has that sunk in? By the time we come back, Bayside will have raised pricing to $100. Thanks, Brady. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you guys. And we'll thanks our sponsors, c-armandstaffing.com, insurancebyLynette.com, realestateshopfl.com. Heat headed for the 10 seed.
Thank you for listening to the 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. After all, someone needs to listen to my dad.